Good morning again.
Good morning.
Oh, let's see. All these questions are labeled midlife.
Midlife. Yeah, I figured that's where we'd be.
Did
Probably
you attend any school or training after high school?
in my late 20s, I took three college classes to see if I could manage cut it in college, and I wasn't happy with it. So I enjoyed my history class and my speech class, and everything else was the English class was hard. So I didn't figure it was for me. I wasn't a very good student that way.
Then you went to firefighting
Well,
academy.
yeah,
That's
I
training.
did firefighting training and got to learn to fight fire, and so that was and that was when I was 30. It's been almost 15 years with them.
I know you didn't, but this question asks if you or any of your loved ones served in the military.
My father was in World War II. He was an army cook, as well as a rifleman. Everybody had a rifle, so he was a rifleman first, but he was a baker. He baked bread, and
And he made it home.
made it home without being wounded. Come back in civilian life, he drove a trolley in Los Angeles. They had streetcars till up into the late 50s, and then they pulled up the streetcar tracks and used city buses. And he switched from a trolley car operator and then over to a bus driver, and drove bus driver till he retired, and then moved back to Texas.
What was your dad's name? Did we ever cover
Vincent Edwin Durden. He was just like a brother. A brother was junior.
that? And your mom's name? Did we ever cover
We didn't
that?
establish
We
it.
talked
No,
about her,
her given name was Vera Aline Mohan, but she hated Vera because they called her Toonie all the time at home, and she hated both names. So when she went to California, she had it legally changed to Veronica Aline. So she went by Veronica all her adult life.
but you said before everybody either called her Tex or Red.
Yeah, she was known by Tex, mostly Tex.
So who are your best friends and who did you spend your time with in your 20s?
Oh, gee. Um, I can't say I had any best friends, just not, just acquaintances, uh, family, husbands and wives of brothers and sisters. Um,
Were you married yet in your 20s?
and oh yeah, I married at 21. Yeah, I was in my early 21, and then stayed married till stayed married to that woman, wife, till 37, I think it was 37, 38. Got a divorce.
Was she the mother of your two
Yes,
kids?
mother of my
And
two
what was her
children.
name?
Joyce Partridge. What was her middle name? I'm not sure I remember. Joyce Ann.
Been a minute.
Yeah, Joyce Ann. It was funny because I'm surprised I forgot that, because her older sister and her both middle name was Ann, because her dad liked the name, and he named both of them Ann. We always laughed about that.
And y'all had two kids.
Two children.
Oh, what were their names?
Well, Marcus Cary, his middle name's after me. He's 63. He's still in Texas. He's a truck driver for UPS, on his way to retirement in a couple of years. And then my daughter's Veronica Diane, and she's also in Dallas, the Dallas area. And, she's 50. Was he 59? I guess.
Yeah. Grandkids?
Have three. Daniel as diesel mechanic. He's in Dallas. And then Rachel She works as in the grocery business. She's in her, I don't know exactly how old she is. She's in her middle 30s. Um, and then my daughter's got a son, Brent's, who is also in his middle 30s.
Great grandkids yet?
No, no. I'm,
No greats.
well, yeah, on your mom's side, and of course Shauna's got
Sure.
a wee one. I tend to forget since
Well, that'll probably come up in the later
in the
life
later,
questions
okay,
here.
yeah. But no, none of my own.
Right. Um, this one says, "What was your dating life in your 20s?" Hopefully, it was pretty stagnant.
Yeah,
since you was married.
pretty skimpy. I tried, but it was.
How'd you meet your first wife?
Um, High school. She was two years, been 2 years behind me. Just kind of, it wasn't anything earth shaking. Just in passing, you meet somebody and you start talking. So it wasn't a earth shaking moment.
Do you remember where you and her went on your first date?
First day, probably the movies, drive-in. That was the big thing. We all, there was several drive-ins in the area, and that's where nearly all the kids, went to the movies. So I can't say as I remember, but I'd probably be about 85% correct if I said the drive-in.
Shouldn't ask you this one with your current wife sitting behind you. What attracted you to your first spouse?
Yeah, red hair.
Red hair?
Yeah, she was redhead. She was a real redhead. She wasn't bleached or wasn't color.
Is she Irish?
I don't know. I don't think we ever got into genealogy that far back. It wasn't the way we have it now, where you can turn in your blood or a spit sample and they can tell you, all the way back to sub-Saharan desert.
But she was a redhead.
She's redhead, yeah.
Voluptuous like Jessica Rabbit?
No, she had an A cup. That'll tell you. That'll tell you.
No Jessica
No
Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbits. No.
Oh, this is a funny one. What was your marriage proposal like?
You want to get married? It wasn't anything earth shaking. She lived with my mother and I, not with me, but with my mother and I, for about 6, 7, 8 months to finish school. She was having a little trouble at home, and to everybody agreed. Her parents agreed to it. And my mother offered to let her stay with her, not me, at the house.
This
and
would have been in the late 50s.
This
yeah?
this was have been about 59.
So you had to be careful you weren't borderline scandalous.
Yeah. Well, it just made sense, and we dated several months, and she was the oldest girl left at home with 7 brothers and sisters under her, so she was taking a lot of flack from her mother, who was not the easiest woman in the world to get along with. So she moved in the house with us, and then to answer your question, marriage proposal, it was just well, we need to get married. I'd like to get married, and okay, and so I bought her a ring.
Let's ask how your friends and family felt about her.
How they felt about
Your first
first wife? Well, it was normal, everybody getting acquainted, and everybody liked her. She was fun to be around, fun, easy girl to live with for a long time. We didn't have any issues for a good many years. you know, things set in like so many people that gets divorces.
What was your wedding like? Were you married in a church?
No, we was married at home in my mother's dining room. Actually, that was kind of the way. You know, a lot of girls didn't care if you'd be surprised how many just want to get married.
Yeah.
You know, so it was not anything to. You know, when you're not destitute, but just barely, skimping by with an automobile and a place to live. It's kind of hard to
Did
get.
you honeymoon?
Actually, we come to Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Really?
Yes, we did.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was old enough to drink, so I got my first mixed drink at a bar here in Carlsbad, New Mexico. She wasn't quite old enough yet, so she got a sip of mine.
Let's see.
Yeah, and then our honeymoon, what we considered our trip, we went to Disneyland, when Disneyland went in. I think what was 58 it opened up. 58. I think in 1959 we went to Disney. It was no, it was later than that. It was 62 because I drove out there in a new Pontiac, the Grand Prix. 62.
What'd you admire most about her?
Oh, just a good girl. Just she was salt of the earth. Give me two good kids. Was hardworking. Just loved her. Just that simple.
This is a tough question.
Okay.
What was the most difficult part of your marriage?
I guess the most difficult part was staying married. After we was married about 10 or 11 years, she got a little unhappy with, I guess, our lot in life. Our kids was, healthy, growing. We both worked. She worked at Texas Instrument there in Dallas, and I was with the fire department. And she showed me and my son that she decided she wanted a professional man. Well, she got 2 or 3 and they never stuck. So she married a couple more times and did not ever succeed. So I don't know what I did, or we never did kind of get there. But
Is Marcus your oldest?
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
ask. This question says, "Tell me about the day your first child was born."
Well, if I remember right, it was reasonably early in the morning. It wasn't after. It was 5 o'clock or so. She woke up with her water broke, and we hooked him to the hospital. And about 2 hours later, he was born. It was an easy birth. Healthy boy, 6 pounds 10 ounces, and went very well. She was a baby machine. She dropped both our children in just I don't think she was 5 hours from time her water broke till she delivered Marcus. And Ronnie, the daughter, she was a whole lot the same way. I think she took about 7 hours, so it was not a hard birth.
How'd y'all decide on your children's names?
Process of elimination. We had a list, like I think most people do, have a list of a dozen or 2 names that we liked, and we both agreed the boy ought to have part of my name, so it would either been Neil or Cary, and Marcus Cary sounded better than Marcus Neil, so we went that way. And my daughter Veronica was my mother's maiden given name, and we called her Ronnie. so it's you shortened it up to Ronnie. And the funny thing is, as she grew up, she went and started going by Diane. So all her friends and people she worked with knows her and knew her as Diane. So people are not she just didn't like Veronica for some reason. And
My daughter did it too.
yeah,
She was Stacy.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
Anastasia.
yeah, Anastasia. And
Uh, what were the holidays like when your kids were little?
oh, fun. We didn't have a lot of money. Just like most people living paycheck to paycheck. We wasn't poor by any stretch, but they had good Christmases. So we made sure they had good one or two good presents, and then plenty of small ones, and a lot of fun. It just you gather up around the tree and rip. I had a movie camera. They were just out the Bell and Howell little wind up movie cameras, and then when video camera came out, and later in the '60s, we bought a video camera and took video. So we had movies and stuff that still probably around somewhere. I'm not sure who's got them, but Marcus may have them. Because I know she had a lot of that stuff that when we divorced, I gave her just whatever she wanted.
What are some of your most memorable family vacations with your children?
Oh, gee, we didn't do a lot. Vacations was to basically mostly clean up the house, work on the house, do things around chores.
That's a staycation.
Yeah, well, that's
But
kind of
really
what
y'all went to the lake or the zoo.
well, not on. We did. We did zoos. Uh, Dallas had a good zoo, and we did the zoo from time to time. But I don't think we ever did it, particularly on vacation. Weekends was because I had a boat, uh, and we water skied and all that. It's the small children. Of course, they rode the boat, and uh, so we did. It's just a normal things. Marcus had football, is the Pee Wee League type stuff, and I coached a little of that. So we had activities that way through the year.
That kind of leads into this next question. What are your favorite memories with your children?
Oh, they're numerous. Uh, just I guess the best one from Marcus would be when he in junior high started into rodeoing, and he had a lot of fun rodeoing. The only bad thing about the rodeo, he started chewing or dipping snuff. So that was, and he still dips snuff, and he can't quit.
Wow. Did you ever get hurt?
No, he got his feelings ruffled a time or two. He goes, everybody was talking about riding bulls. Well, they rode steers, so but when he got on his first steer, he was ready to get off of it, and he took a couple of jumps and kind of turned loose and got off of it. But he got up and he rode his bull, so he was happy. But it was a good group of young men he was an FFA and the rodeo club, and he had a good high school upbringing. He enjoyed his school, and Ronnie, she just was a good student. She just nothing memorable about what she did in school. She's had good grades, and they both graduated, and of course, Marcus went to service at 18. He decided he wanted to go in the army. And
let's ask, tell us one of your proudest moments for each of your children.
Geez, I guess, well, one of was, of course, both of them graduated and got through high school without any trouble. College, of course, even when they were growing up, it was not a at that point wasn't considered a necessity to get a decent job if you didn't want to go to school, didn't want to go to college, and neither one of them showed any desire to go to college, so we didn't uh, we didn't have that to go through. But and of course, them getting married was another big moment. But and of course, both of them had children, so that's probably the three most uh, memorable things that we did. I had.
Do you remember becoming an empty nester, and how did it feel when you became an empty nester?
Oh, geez. It it didn't bother me. I was just glad because uh, you raise children to leave home. I mean, that was, I've always felt that way. And at 18, 16, most boys, by the time they're 16, they're running their show anyway. You know that. You was doing probably 90% of the stuff that you was doing was because you wanted to do it, not because anybody else wanted you to do it. The 10% that your mom wanted or something, you did about half of it halfway. And same way, girls probably a little older, uh, but some of them even maybe a little younger. So girls are pretty much hard to read because a lot of times at 13 they're their own boss, and at 18 you think they're still under your wing, and they're really not. So you just hope they don't get in trouble in a wreck, get pregnant, all the above, and that's just if you get them raised to that far up, you're doing good.
These this is four separate questions, but they seem like they all go
Lead in
together. It's
together.
almost the same question.
Okay.
This is of course referring to your midlife, so 20s, 30s, 40s. Uh, what did you do for fun? Did you maintain or begin any hobbies? Were you a member of any groups or clubs? And how did you spend your free time outside of work?
Well, my main source of fun for me personally was my music. I played. We had a couple of little bands that what we never was trying to make money and just having fun playing. And if we made $100, it paid our travel expenses, strings for your guitar, upkeep on your instrument, and it's kind of nice to make $1 or two.
Where'd y'all play? Barns, dances?
Well, a
clubs?
little of everything. We had a permanent gig at. Now this was just guys that was three of them was printers, print books and stuff that for a print shop, and of course I made boxes at the time we was playing most of it, printed and made cardboard boxes, and we had a drummer that was I forget what he did for a living. He was a graphic designer. That's what he did. He was an artist, but he worked as a graphic designer. He was a drummer, and he was a what do you call them, audiophiles that listens to have. He had the speakers, big huge towers all over the room.
Uh-huh.
6 or 8 speakers with high tech everything, mostly vinyl. He was into vinyl. That was before. That was 64. He had a brand new 64 Impala, 409 dual 4-barrel carburetors, and he was a 4-speed transmission. That was quite an automobile. We used to love to tease him about his car, But
And you were into cars yourself.
oh
back in
yeah, the
day.
cars was, I had a Corvette. I had in '64. I had a brand new uh, uh, Grand Prix uh, Pontiac. It was the second one. I'd had one in '62 and bought a new '64. And no, I had '63, and in '64 I bought a Pontiac convertible GTO. So yeah, I was into cars pretty deep. I'd when I got married, shortly after I got married, before I had the first baby, I had a '59 Corvette, a fuel injected Corvette. So yeah, I pretty deep in cars over the years. I had a Ford 35 Ford coupe, through 5 window coupe with a hot Mercury engine in it. Uh, yeah, and a little '51 Ford convertible. I've had it. I think we counted up here a while back, and I lost count at somewhere around 40 cars. Wow. That I've owned through the years, and I used to trade cars. It was pretty easy. You could buy and sell cars pretty easy, and it was cheap enough. And now you got the cheap cars, $35,000.
Right.
And
back then cars had style. Today's cars,
oh yeah,
not much
yeah.
style.
I had
lots of tech, but not much style.
But let's see. We was talking about things to do. I had a boat, water skied. Liked to. I was good at water skiing. My brother and I made a 3.5 foot, about a 38, 40 inch disc, just plywood, just a round disc, and that was a nightmare to ride. But when you could stay on it, it was a blast. It was fun. You wouldn't have no foothold or nothing. It was just standing up on that disc, and I had a 16-foot aluminum boat with a 40 horsepower Mercury on it, and it had run about 35 miles an hour. And it was fun to
fast enough to ski behind.
Fast enough to ski behind, and my brother, who was like 6 years older than me, he loved to fish. So I didn't care about fishing. I just enjoyed being out, and I never have cared too much for fishing, but. We'd go out and I'd watch and we'd talk while he's out and fishing. One of the few times I get to spend with him, since he left home at 17, and I didn't get to spend the night with him from that point on until your dad died, and my dad was buried on the same day. You remember that?
Yeah, it was about 1992.
Yeah, 2, 3, somewhere along there. That your dad passed away while I was going to my dad's funeral,
right.
And I picked you and Shauna.
Flew out there.
Picked you and Shauna up from Left Field, and then we went to your dad's funeral early, and then I went to my dad's. So I went to 2 funerals in one day.
Yeah, that's kind of transitioning us over into this part of these cards that say later life and reflection. So I guess
that's now.
That's now. But
yeah, from
also,
50. It's about time I met your mother.
Right.
That's when you came. That's when you came into my life.
That was the early '90s.
Yeah, '92 when I moved here.
You and my mom met while she was over there visiting her friend Darla, as I recall.
Yeah.
And you were visiting your brother.
Yeah, yeah, I was in town. I lived in Mobile, Alabama, and I was in town for my 35th high school reunion.
Oh.
And Darla had called me. Your mother's best friend, Darla, was married to my brother. They lived in Sherman, Texas, and I was going to be in the Garland area, which is about 60 miles away. And so Darla was playing matchmaker with your mother. So she lined up 4 guys, including myself. I was the second one to date while she come out to visit. So when I got there on my time, well, the 4 of us went out and we had a ball. We laughed and cut up. Your mom hadn't been on but 1 or 2 dates since your dad had passed. And We laughed our butts off.
I guess she was around 45 years old.
She was
so.
42.
40.
She's 42. She's 42 because I was 52, and she, yeah, that's close enough. If she might have been 41 because it was, I would probably been 52 in the December, so I was probably 40. So she was 52, but I'm 42 because our dates overlap. But
I got to backtrack for a minute.
Okay.
'Cause we never covered this, but how'd you end up in Alabama?
oh well, we skipped my second marriage, my divorce and second
Oh,
marriage.
yeah, you're right.
We missed that part. I left the fire service in '83. I met my second wife along in that same time frame. We dated about 8 months before we married, and she was into crafts, macrame, for example. She would work the flea market, and we had a very big flea market in the Grand Prairie area, Dallas, and she had gotten a divorce, and a friend of ours introduced us, and we went out a time or two, just on a date, a movie and dinner, and we were talking about Christmas, and she said, well, she needed some money. She's get some material, and I asked her how much she needed. I had a little savings, so I said I can't loan it to you for very long. I said, how long before I get paid back? Oh, I can pay you back in Sunday after we get through. So I let her have $500, and we made a flying trip down to. I was still the fire department, and we made a flying trip down to Houston and picked up $500 worth of macrame material, and come back, and we worked. I was off on Saturday and Sunday because of my 2 days off, and because I worked 24 on, 48 off. So we worked Saturday and Sunday out at the flea market, and when she went to pay me back, she gave me $1,500.
Wow.
And tripled my money
Right.
in four and a half days. And I said, you don't have to do this. I said, I expect that. And she said, well, I appreciate so much you and she had $3,000 left. So
So it was
pretty lucrative business.
ages,
Yeah. In 5 days she made $3,500.
And
$4,500.
Y'all wound up making a business out of it.
And we wound up doing business together. Good enough that I quit the fire department, left the fire department a little early, not much, but a little. And we bought sold our homes, bought a motor home, and started traveling. And we traveled for 10 years. I've had a big trailer, a 20-foot trailer, 8 foot tall, had wings on the side, kind of like not through the trailer was solid. It just had wings, awnings, you'd call it. And we built it to display our. Have you seen pictures of it, hadn't you? And I've showed you pictures of the motorhome with the trailer behind it.
Years ago.
Yeah. I remember showing you. And we had hooks that you could hang all up under that, so we could display our stuff. And we made a bundle of money. Thousands and thousands. Of course, a lot of it, and I guess I could admit it without getting in trouble. A lot of it wasn't reported to the IRS because the cash was kind of went in your pocket. But and we had a good business. It was really good. And then we settled. Actually, friends offered us just a place to park the motorhome, and they had a big lot. It was an acreage, but had a big lot behind their house in a little town called Satsuma, down close to Mobile. And we started living there in our motorhome behind their house, working out of their old shop. They had their business had built up till they needed a bigger place to work and hire some people. And so we finally bought a little house there and settled in Satsuma for several years. And then when she got breast cancer, and passed from cancer. That's when, and that was 2 weeks before I met your mother. And she said if she'd had any idea that I'd just been wedded for two weeks, she wouldn't have given me the time of day.
Yeah.
So I guess I was lucky I didn't mention that.
Oh, that is quick.
Yeah. Well, the thing of it
Has
is,
she been sick
Tony,
for a
she'd
long
been sick
time?
for about almost 2 years, and she was a skeleton. She didn't look like a person, and it was just she was just I mean skin and bones. Her looked like looked dead. I mean, and just tough time, yeah. And of course, her mother was there with me, and her daughter was also there. My stepdaughter was with us while she passed, and then I just kind of was marking time when my best friend from high school called me and said, "Are you going to make the 35th reunion?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I can." I said, "I hadn't thought about it." And he said, "Won't you come on?" I said, "I know it's kind of tough." And I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, while I was in town, I'd visit my mother, and she lived in Garland, and that's when I called my brother and told him I'd be there." And so Darla, that's when she got on the phone and wanted to know when exactly I could be up there. And so she arranged for me and your mom to meet. And so that was how we met. And then your mom, on the way back home from Texas, she sent me a card out of Big Springs. And it's just a thank you card, having a good time, and I enjoyed it, and just wish me well. And so I called her, and we chatted on the phone, and she called me, and we chatted on the phone, and it got to be a nightly phone chat. And I never will forget. I was talking to her, and I said, "Oh, I gotta run." I said, I can't run my phone because you paid by the minute, by the phone call. So it was 50 cents a minute. So I told her, I said, "Well, I can't afford to chat on the phone anymore." I said, I better get off here. And so she let me hang up, and I hadn't much more than hung the phone up till the phone rang, and it was your mom. And she said, "Well, you might not be able to afford it, but I can." So we talked as long as she wanted to talk, and from then on, she basically called me for the most part, and she's not stingy with her money. I can tell you that much.
And then one day you got a wild hair and just loaded up and headed this way, huh?
Well, actually, let me run that by you. Your mother comes to my house first. I don't know if you knew that or not. She flew to Alabama and spent.
I doubt it was a secret because I was probably taking care of stuff.
Well, I'm sure you was. I'm just. I figured.
But I
you,
don't recall it.
Okay. Well,
It's only been 30.
Well, 34 years. Well, she called me and wanted to come visit. She wanted to see me in my space, and because I had a nice little home there, and she wanted to see me and meet my people, and we went to church together. So she came down and spent 2 nights. We went to the beach, went to church. We ate out. We ate at home. She got to meet Nellie's mother and daughter, and my friends that we worked with, that we lived in their backyard for a while. So we had a real good time. We really had a good time. Then I flew out here. She flew me out here. She paid me my ticket and flew me out here for 9 days, 2 weekends, and that's when we decided, that I would come and live with her. And she told me at the time, she said, "Now, Cary, I can't get married." And I said, "Well," I said, "that it's not an issue if it's not with you." I said, "Do you mind me asking why?" She said, "Well, I would lose my annuity. Your dad left her a nice annuity from his retirement, and that she couldn't. If she married before she was 55 and she was 42." And she explained to me, and I said, "Well, I wouldn't take that away from you for nothing." So I said, that's fine if it's all right with you. So we agreed to just be significant others, and we've never had the reason to. Well, both of us have asked the other one from time to time if we wanted to get married, and on the advice of our tax person, she kind of said it wasn't really any that it would be a little worse in one way, a little better in another way, and she said it's not significant either way. So we just decided not to rock the boat, and we haven't ever gotten married. But
well, I remember when you showed up here, a truck and a van and 2 dogs and a cat. Was there a pig, or is that?
No, the pig didn't come.
Didn't bring the pig.
No, I didn't bring
you had
the pig.
A pig, but you
had
didn't
a
bring
pig. Yeah, the pig stayed in Satsuma, and we found a couple with a little farm, just a little. They loved animals. They had chickens and geese and turkeys, and Winston was the pig, and he was a miniature pig, not supposed to get over about 40 pounds, weighed 175 pounds. He was a big pig, and but smart. God, pigs are smart. Potty trained him in one time.
Wow.
Just put a piece of paper down, put him on it, and this was as a piglet. I mean, he was size of a small cat, and he went on that paper, and he never went anywhere else in the house but on whatever was down there for him to go. Could open doors, could get in and out of cabinets. He was, into everything. But anyway, your mom was not impressed with my pig, so he got to go to this little farm, and a couple come got him, and they sent us a picture of him. Of a chicken was riding on his back. He was in the chicken pen with the chickens. So he was living a good life. They live to be about 20, 25 years old. So they're fairly long lived for animals. And so
when I met my wife, she had a pig. I don't think it was supposed to be a miniature pig though. It was a pretty big pig.
Oh no, the one I was taking Cary.
You were going back in time.
Yeah, I was going way back. No, yeah, I remember her big old pig. No, she had 2, didn't she?
Not that I recall.
Didn't she have 2? We had one died.
Yeah, one got. It didn't.
No, I remember one got dogs killed. The last one.
Right.
But didn't she? I think she had 2.
I don't know.
I think
it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I think
we're supposed to be talking about you.
Yeah,
right
I think she had 2. But anyway, But
I remember when you came here, you were still doing some of the crafting.
Yeah.
Because you were making magnets for Disneyland.
I got a order. When my wife was sick, when second wife was sick, I couldn't travel. So people knew that she was sick, and they would. I did cutouts, the little apples and names and stuff, and so they would order $400 worth of apples, and I'd cut and paint them and send them to them, and they'd send me a check. And so I did that, and I did some of that even after I got here, because you got involved on the jigsaw. So
yeah, I just remember you cutting them out on your Excalibur jigsaw, 8 at a time. I think it was
seven.
You
at a
staple
time.
7 layers of that plywood together.
Still got some of that plywood left too.
Laid them out all over the backyard on little plywoods.
Yeah.
And then spray painted.
With
your little brush. Making refrigerator.
Make them look like apples and.
Yeah. And you had the little dog Charlie that ate the whole chocolate cake.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny.
Dog.
Your sister and Trini made a chocolate cake and set it up on the cabinet, on the countertop, and Charlie went from chair to table to countertop to chocolate cake, and he ate all. It was funny. You'd think he'd eat every bite of it, but he left just about a slice, chocolate's supposed to be hard on dogs, and he didn't have a whisper.
He also ate a package of Oreo cookies, didn't he?
No, well,
Like a Christmas tin full of cookies?
Oh yes, he did. You're right. I'd forgotten about that. He opened a package. It was wrapped and had cellophane tape taping the lid down on those cookies, and he ate all but 3 or 4 of those.
Wow.
He ate it, and the funniest thing about him when we was traveling, I kept no-dos, just to pop if I needed one, and there was almost a full 24 box of no-dos on the dash of my traveling camper, motorhome, and he got into those and he all of them that was left. There's probably 22 or 21 in it, and Tony, he didn't come down for 3 days. That dog was, I mean, he was literally running through that camper up on the dash ground, and he was tongue hanging out, just panting, and he was just hyper.
That was one tough beagle.
Oh man.
Let's see. I was already in my early 20s when you came here, out running the world, but my sister still lived here at home.
Yeah, she was 14. She turned 14 I got here in the 15th of November, and she turned 14 in November of 22nd, 23rd, her birthday.
Yeah.
And so it was just after I got here, we celebrated at the Cattleman's, or the old Cattleman they tore down there. We went and had steak.
Gotcha.
So.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's start in with this other pack of cards here then. How do you feel about being a grandparent?
It don't feel that much difference. I love the kids from afar. I like to visit with them, like for them to visit us. But I'm kind of ambivalent about great grandkids. They're like I said, they're fun to have. I'm proud of them. Not that I certainly don't dislike them. I mean, I enjoy being around them, but I'm not a doting grandfather. Let's put it that way.